verify the information that was tabulated at the polling station. So we can only hope that also if there's any challenge or irregularities, we can also take action on that. And I think, as my panelists have said, we've seen action being taken and also security beefed up. So we're hoping by tomorrow things will be good.
Yeah. I have one question, Kakai, before we go to Bomas of Kenya. Have we seen, is it just me, or have we seen more concessions this time around than previous, including just the latest one today from one of the presidential candidates, David Mwaure Wahiga, who then, conceded defeat, talked about the race that he had run and said, they've looked at the numbers and it is very clear that they are not in the lead, certainly. And he's not the only one. There have been several others who've made concession speeches. Step in the right direction and more than we've seen before, right?
A step in the right direction, simply because we've adopted both manual and electronic. And the mere fact that electronic is used and you have your agents, because the law allows politicians to have their party agents, and these things are being transmitted and you know what has really happened, the sooner you concede, the better, because really, why will you be holding on concession when you know very well that you are not going to add up? I think like one of the presidential candidates conceded because he's been able to see, probably use his agents to see that this is where I am. Even if I proceed with the rest, I have lost. So concession is good because when you concede, you're basically telling Kenyans that I have participated in this electoral process, I have lost, I am fine, but it's also rubber stamping the accuracy and of the electoral process. As like in the past, where people will have to wait until the results are announced, go back to the polling station, start looking for forms to probably file an election petition. So transparency in terms of electoral process and electronic management has increased the efficiency.
Okay. Yeah.
Na nadhani tutakaporejea tutazidi tu kwa hilo swala, manake kuna jambo ambalo linazidi kujitokeza kila mara. Viongozi wanajitokeza na kukubali matokeo. Kuna lile swala la kukua kwa sheria ama jurisprudence ukipenda. Nadhani Kakai utaweza kutueleza zaidi kuhusiana na hilo, lakini kwa sasa tuelekee katika eneo la Bomas ambapo Wahiga Mwaura yupo. Wahiga, hujambo? Nilikuwa na awali ulijaribu sana Kiswahili, lakini kuna mambo mengine ulikuwa umesema nilikuwa natamani ningekuwa na kiboko ningekitumia, lakini kufikia sasa tunatarajia maeneo bunge 77. Hali iko vipi huko? Kuna matumaini kwamba IEBC itatangaza matokeo kutoka maeneo bunge zaidi?
Well, it's a little over 2 hours now to day 6 of the 2022 general election as Kenyans continue waiting for the results of the presidential race, having obviously by now known the results of most of the other 1,879 elective positions that were up for grabs when Kenyans went to the polls on the 9th of August 2022. Many thanks for staying with us on Kenya's Choice. We are live from the Bomas of Kenya, the National Tallying Center. My name is Wahiga Mwaura, and together with Nimrod Tabu here, we've been trying to keep tabs on what's going on, both here at our studios and also just behind us at the auditorium, where a lot of action transpired, especially yesterday. A lot calmer today, and a bit later on I'll be crossing over and handing over to Nimrod Tabu to tell you exactly what is going on. We know that at the moment results from 213 constituencies of the 291 have been validated, verified and announced by the commissioners. The last set of about 31 constituency results were read out by Boya Molu, one of the commissioners, about a little under an hour ago or so. 77 more to go. And of course, many had hoped that that final declaration will be made today, but it seems that this will probably be something that will happen tomorrow. And of course, Keep It Citizen TV will give you more updates on this as and when we get them. But I'm here with one of the observers who's been keenly following what's been happening, not just here at the Bomas of Kenya, but also at a county and constituency level, as he and his team were following the polls from the 9th of August. Suba Churchill, who is the Executive Director of the Kenya National Civil Society Center. Many thanks for finding time for us and for braving the chilly evening to be here with us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Let me quickly get a sense from you of your thoughts about what's happening in there. Just behind us where the process of validation, verification, returning officers patiently waiting for their turn to present the forms 34B together with the corresponding 34A documents as well. A lot has happened, a lot has been said about it. As an observer, what's your reading of the situation this evening?
Yeah, my sense of what's happening is that there's a lot of progress that is being made. A lot has been made. I think when this process started earlier on the first day of verification, you recall that there were only 3 tables at the center where the verification is happening. Of course, it's a requirement of Article 38, I think, of the Constitution, that whatever method of elections is used as provided for in the relevant laws, it should be simple, verifiable, accurate, and accountable. And I think IEBC is under pressure to ensure that this time around, it ensures that the process is as verifiable as possible. You remember Kenyans must have been addicted to what transpired in 2017, on the basis of which I think the Supreme Court came to the inevitable conclusion to nullify the first presidential vote on account that IEBC did not take its time to verify. They were based on transmitted results.
Yes, yes, exactly.
And those transmissions were done through text messaging. And it was found that, text messages are vulnerable to editing. This time around, they insisted on a picture of the form that is filled at the polling station, Form 34A for the presidency. And so what they are trying to do here is ensure that all the 46,229 from each of the polling stations across the country are brought here in person so that they can use the hard copy to check whether it is the copy that was transmitted through the picture, and ensure that the entries that are made on that form, 46,229 of them, are the figures that reflect on Form 34B that is filled at the constituency level. And remember, we have 290 constituencies within the country and an extra 1 constituency for the diaspora. So we are talking about 291, and that's why this process has taken longer. One thing I've realized with the IEBC is that on the first day that I was here, I eavesdropped into a team of people that were being brought in to be inducted into the verification process. It means that these are people who are strangers to the process, they've never done it before, and therefore they were being distributed to tables to learn from those who had been doing it, so that they can have their own table. It was a team of about 6 or so.
And this was about 3 days ago.
This was about 3 days
first
ago.
Got here.
So that is what they have been doing. So they bring in people who are strangers to the process, and I think IEBC has a responsibility in the future to have a pool of people on standby that have gone through this process before. Of course, we can forgive them because this probably is the second time they are doing it. It was never done in 2013. Maybe it was the first time it was being done in 2017. And so looking forward to a situation where we have such a pool of people that are trained in between elections so that they can be used to this process, as opposed to what has been happening here. I also noticed, again, with the people they had assigned in polling stations, that not all of them had done this work before.
That has been repeated by others.
Because every election year we have more polling stations than before. So IEBC does not take the interest to train people in between on how to go about this program. That has led to people who are not properly trained, handling KIMS kits for the first time. I strongly suspect, as it did happen in one polling station I visited in Kisumu, where, it couldn't just work. And I asked the guy, have you tried to restart it? He said, it's not even switching off. And my own suspicion was that this guy was not very, very versatile with an equipment that he had not been handling before. So it gave me the impression that he was not properly trained. He had not been, exposed to that equipment for long, and he had not been exposed to situations where that equipment can take him to, and how it is able to, to get it back to a working status. So a lot of it is lack of adequate training. Of course, IEBC has told us before, part of their challenge is that They get funded a
Very
few
late.
months to the elections.
That's correct. I was
And
about
so
to
a lot
bring
of
that
things
up.
that they need to do in between two successive elections get done the last minute, and that's why they get into this. And I remember I was also here at the very Bomas of Kenya for the signature verification, and I saw all manner of people, you know, trying to do the entries. Some of them, you know, got caught outside the precincts and within the precincts of, you know, Bomas of Kenya, engaging in drug taking. And so it means that IEBC does not get really to also, you know, get the integrity of some of these people they engage.
Suba Churchill, some very interesting institutional weaknesses that you're pointing out. We'll interrogate that when we come back. But first of all, let's get a sense of what's happening inside that auditorium just behind the studio here at the Bomas of Kenya, where Nimrod Tabu is on standby. Kwako, Nimrod. Nimrod? Okay. Nimrod atatupasha baadaye. We'll go back to him shortly. But Suba, coming back to you, you've actually dipped into my next question, which was going to be any recommendations for future by-elections or a future election from what you've seen so far. And I think you've mentioned some of the concerns and the training of the staff. And of course, it's a big team. I think almost at 50,000. If you count, they needed 46,229 presiding officers. I know the ROs should be staff already hired by the IEBC. But to train such a large number like that, last minute, get them out. And of course, IEBC have also come out clearly that we did not receive the money when we wanted it.
Yes.
Plus the issue of commissioners who joined the IEBC in September 2021, which simply did not make sense with an election barely a year away. Away from that, how do you then correspond that with the requirement